Guess who just got out of the shower and remember that he hadn't made an Andrew 64 video in a hot minute. Hi, it's me, Andrew, from the show Andrew 64. That's not really a show, it's more like me just literally doing anything. Yes, I have cat ears. If you watched my streams on twitch.tv/basic4, you know that they were a gift and that I can't legally take them off anymore because so today I want to talk about something that it's a rare Nintendo game that no one seems to know about. It's called Luigi's Mansion, but specifically I want to talk about the PAL version of Luigi's Mansion. Now, when I started YouTube, and you know, I guess that was 8 years ago. If we move even further back, that's about 10 years ago, probably even further back, maybe over a decade ago, there was Luigi's Mansion. And I loved Luigi's Mansion. I loved everything about Luigi's Mansion. I loved how creepy it was, the environments, the gameplay. I loved it. It scared me a little because I'm a wimp. At that time, I was really interested in the prototype of Luigi's Mansion specifically, which is what led to creating Beta 64 and what led to Luigi's Mansion being my first video. Well, the thing is, during that time, I was hacking the game. Most of the hacks, most of the mods, most of the AR codes, especially like the debug menu, the unused rooms, the test things, all those like AR action replay codes required the PAL version of the game, which meant I couldn't use the NTSC version of the game, the one that released in America. You had to use the one that released in the PAL region. So the thing about that is, I was using that version, and it doesn't really seem all that different at the beginning. And then you get to the hidden mansion, okay? You get to the second mode that appears after you beat the original mansion. And in the Japanese version and in the North American version, the NTSC versions of the game, it didn't like do anything. I remember when I was younger and I had Luigi's Mansion and you beat the full first mansion and you're like, oh, you unlocked the hidden mansion. I wonder what that's gonna be. That sounds so cool. And then it turns out it's like nothing. I know there is something, according to this article that I'm reading. There is something. Apparently it makes the poltergust is 1.5 times stronger. I don't know exactly what that means. And also, ghosts put up more a fight to escape its pull. So that would explain the reason why I literally had absolutely no idea what this extra mode did, because it made the ghosts more powerful, right? But it also made the poltergust more powerful. So it kind of like canceled it out. So it's like, oh, we're making the enemies more powerful, but we're also making you more powerful, which basically means nothing changed. It was such a crazy thing when I was young, because I was like, what's different? What the frick is different? And then you get to the PAL version of the game, which added a lot. So there are 3 versions of the game that I'm going to talk about. There's the Japanese version, which had differences completely unique to itself. Then there's the NTSC version, which is the one that I played as a younger lad. And then there is the PAL version. All versions of Luigi's Mansion are different in some way or another. The Japanese version is actually really glitchy. Let me just give you some of the glitches that happen. Music will randomly speed up at certain points. Music sequences won't reset properly when you enter a new area. There also is like a lot of removed audio tracks, like, you know, when Mr. Lugs, the eating boy, let me pull it up. So you got this part, right? There's not any music, there's just sounds. And when you get Mr. Lugs angry, this music starts playing, which freaking terrified me. Well, in the Japanese version, that does not play. There's also apparently different music in the observatory, and just like a bunch of weird stuff too. Like Luigi whistles in the secret altar, but he doesn't do it in international versions. There's also some different sounds too. For instance, whimpering. Holy frick, that's loud. Anyway, most of the reason why there's so many glitches and weird moments in the Japanese version of the game, is that they had to rush it, potentially, for the Japan release of the GameCube. So they wanted to, to release it side by side. You gotta get that crap out there. It's so cool. But in all the other countries, they're like, just wait. That's really how it is. So with the North American version of the game, they were able to, fix a lot of the bugs, but they didn't really change anything. Maybe like a little things here and there with the sounds and stuff, but not like the European version. So let me show you the release dates. The Japanese version released on September 14th, 2001. The North American version released on November 18th, 2001. Great, a little extra time for bug fixes. The European version released November, December, January, February, March, April, May. 6 months. I actually had to do the counting. And the thing is, that allowed them to do something special. Miyamoto wasn't exactly happy with the fact that they had to rush the game in Japan, North America, and then wanted to do something different. So he added, with of course the help of the developers and stuff like that, he came up with some ideas to make the Hidden Mansion more difficult. For instance, the entire thing is flipped. If you notice, like in Game Club Podcast, let me pull that up. If you notice in the Game Club Podcast, the podcast that I do with Andy from A Plus Start and She Says from Boundary Break, you'll notice that the L is flipped. And I guarantee one of the first content, yep, there it is. She says, why is the L backward? That's the thing. I play the PAL version of the game. If I need footage of Luigi's Mansion, I'm playing the PAL version because I freaking love it. But that's why the L is flipped. And a lot of the footage that I record, that's the whole game, is flipped. And I really appreciate that because it really does. The first time you play that, it's just like, whoa. But there's a lot more than just it being flipped. They also made the bosses harder, Chauncey's rocking horses larger, zigzag toward Luigi, not to mention boosts have more HP. Ghosts are harder, rooms are darker. Ghosts will also appear earlier in the game, the harder ghosts. There are more ghosts around the mansion, plus you have this amazing moment where Boolicious, who I actually called him Boolicious when I was a kid. I don't know why. I always thought it was Boolicious. Luigi will jump on his vacuum for absolutely no reason. And it makes it like have ice physics. And it's so freaking hard. It's so difficult. Now, the thing is, this used to be like super crazy, oh my gosh, knowledge back in the olden days. But from what I heard, and I'm checking out right now, the 3DS version of the game has the Hidden Mansion from the PAL version. So I'm just gonna scrub through this and check to see. Can I just take a moment to say I really, really wish they did this remaster on the Switch and not the 3DS. I even gave it a try on like an emulator to use a GameCube controller and stuff just to see. It's not as good. It's not nearly as good. I'm sorry. It's just me. I'm just weird like this. So let's see if he does the vacuum thing. I'm very curious. No, he doesn't use the freaking vacuum. What? From what I read, because there's the Hidden Mansion bone, I guess now. What the heck? I heard that the Hidden Mansion on the 3DS had that. Well, now I'm just incredibly disappointed. Because it just means that more people can't experience the glory of Luigi riding his vacuum cleaner. So I guess that means even though the 3DS version does add a lot of the changes from the European version, I guess it doesn't add everything. So once again, I will say, and I was afraid that this whole video was pointless because I read that the 3DS version added that. I'll say this, the PAL version is still the best way to play Luigi's Mansion, especially the Hidden Mansion. It's just so freaking good. Just flipping it alone was enough of a change for me to go, whoa, but it's so much more difficult. It took me 10 tries to beat the final boss because it's a challenge. For those of you who have beaten Luigi's Mansion a million times, the PAL version is where it's at. Did they flip it? They didn't flip it. They didn't freaking flip it. What? 3DS remake. A remake of 3DS was created, blah, blah, blah. All regional releases of the remake also incorporate elements from the PAL version, increase the difficulty on the second quest. So, thank you, Wikipedia, for freaking lying to me. Well, maybe I misread it. Maybe Wikipedia, I'll give you an out, just because when I heard incorporates elements from the PAL version, I thought that meant, a lot of stuff, not like just made it more difficult. Like, it's not flipped. It's not, he's not riding the vacuum. That's the two big parts. No, take that back. It literally says right here, Outler spoke positively about the implementation of stereoscopic 3D on the two screens, as well as new boss rush mode and the PAL Hidden Mansion. It did not add the PAL Hidden Mansion. That's not flipped. I'm going to show you the PAL Hidden Mansion. Luigi's Mansion Beta 64 live. This is the PAL version. I played it live. This is one of my first live streams I ever did back in 2016. I want you to look. I know this doesn't matter, and I know many of you probably are like, Andrew, it incorporates elements, and it's just, look, Toad is on this side. In the Hidden Mansion of the 3DS version, Toad is on left side. This is not the PAL version. This isn't the PAL version that I know. I'm gonna be passionate about one thing in life. If it's gonna be anything, I might as well make a Luigi's Mansion. That's my big thing. It even says right here, most of these changes, here we go. Most of these changes, minus the mansion being mirrored, speedy spirits and gold mice spawning silver diamonds, Luigi riding the poltergust, the brightness being darker, and the inability to earn A rank, eventually made their way into the 3DS. That's not most of the changes. It's missing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's missing more than half of the changes. This isn't most of the changes. This is less than half of it. And I'm willing to say these are the best changes. Being mirrored, it being darker, it's so spooky. And Luigi riding the poltergust is just so freaking funny. I'm just saying, guys, the PAL version of Luigi's Mansion is still so unique. Even with the 3DS remake adding some of it back, it's just the best parts of this change, of these differences, are still in the PAL version of Luigi's Mansion. I really think that even today, even with the remake, even with all these changes and stuff, it's gotta be the PAL version. You gotta check it out. It's so freaking fun. I highly recommend it. And this video was a lot more interesting than I thought it was gonna be. I was like, oh, I'm just gonna talk about the changes and nothing. But then the 3DS, reading that it added stuff and then figuring out it didn't, this has just been a roller coaster of a video. But anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope I've convinced you to at least check out the PAL version. And hey, I know I talked about my Twitch stream multiple times during this video, but I'm gonna talk about it again. Twitch.tv/base64. You should check it out. I stream Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Most people say that we have a good time, but are we having a good time? You're gonna have to come and find out. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Much love. And yeah.